Hey everybody, the Super Vader 400 here, the brown skinned human, and of course Douglas Blair Roberts coming back at you with another video. And as you can see by the title above, this is the intro video to various Dragon Ball Z rants. Like I've said in previous videos, there will be one intro video for a bunch of audio narration reviews, because in previous videos I got sick of recording an intro for every audio audio narration, and I want to save more disk space on my hard drive. So this is what we're going to be doing from now on. So this tackles every Dragon Ball Z rant: the Piccolo Saga, Saiyan Saga, Namek and Frieza sagas, Android and Cell sagas, Babidi and Majin Buu base sagas, the entire Dragon Ball Super franchise, Fakatsu no F, the entire Dragon Ball Z franchise, the entire Dragon Ball franchise, and even though I like these versions of Dragon Ball, love these versions of Dragon Ball, um, Super Brawly, and of course maybe Dragon Ball Evolution. Because while I like those films, I do have a problem. I do have a couple of problems with those films. So this is the intro video to all Dragon Ball based rants. So with that being said, let's get started right now. Gonna show you what I'm made of. Time for part two of what time for part two of my rant and review on the Saiyan Saga. Like I said in the part one webcam portion of this review, um now I still like and enjoy the Saiyan Saga, and if the rest of the series would have followed the formula the Saiyan Saga would have had, or not the formula, but the same team and cast of characters would have stuck with those cast of characters, I would still like Dragon Ball as a whole today. But the Saiyan Saga has definitely not aged well. As a saga on its own, is good, but as a setup to the Namek saga, the Frieza saga, and the rest of the series, atrocious. One of the worst sagas of all time. Almost as bad as Majin Buu. It's only slightly better than Majin Buu because they have a better cast of characters. But almost as bad as Majin Buu, which we're about to get into right now. The first problem I have with the Saiyan saga is Goku and Piccolo's origins. Now, them being revealed to be, instead of demons and fantasy based creatures, them later revealed to be aliens wouldn't be much of a problem if it wasn't for several established rules that this show established. Later in the Namek saga, in the Namek Saga, we later learn that when a Saiyan gets beaten to near death and survives, his power, or is revived from death, his power increases exponentially. But in Dragon Ball with Goku, we didn't see any of that. We didn't see any of that. He got power. His power came from achieving some arduous task. If if a Saiyan turned stronger after every battle, where was all this power in Dragon Ball? He should have ran roughshod over every villain. I mean, I'm talking about he should have one-shotted and roughshotted every villain. A Hispanic guy did a fan-made Dragon Ball Dojinshi where Vegeta was sent to Earth instead of Goku, and Vegeta in the comic one-shotted everyone. The Red Ribbon Army, King Piccolo, even Piccolo Jr. had to surrender and apologize for being unable to avenge his father. Pol Raditz and Nappa then beat Goku and Vegeta, then acclaimed the Super Saiyan legend and beat Frieza instead. But that was a fan made comic book created by some Hispanic guy. This right here, that fan made comic book should have been this series. If you're trying to tell me that Goku was an alien, that goes to show you that that is a plot reckoning. That is a plot reckoning, plot hole. That wasn't even the script at the time they were writing Dragon Ball. They were writing Dragon Ball. Let's go to Piccolo's origin. His origin would not be much of a problem if it wasn't for one specific rule in Dragon Ball. In the King Piccolo saga, we later learn from Kami that when somebody gets killed by King Piccolo, when somebody gets killed by King Piccolo, their soul their soul never rests in peace, and they're trapped in limbo for all eternity, writhing in agony, something like that. If he was an alien, how does a how does a if he was an alien all along, how does an alien have that power? A demon or a sorcerer, I can see having that power, but how does an alien have that type of ability to have jurisdiction of where somebody's soul goes? So like I said, more plot holes and plot reckonings. Um, so number one are their origins. The third problem I have is Raditz. Is After Raditz is defeated, after Raditz is quote unquote. Oh yeah, first before we get to that one, I'm one plot hole before that. The Raditz plot holes. Raditz number one, his tail, the weakness. We later learned during the fight with Goku, during the fight with Nappa, that Nappa and Vegeta have evolved and rid themselves of that primitive weakness. So tell me why didn't Raditz learn to cover his tail? Even Goku got rid of that weakness at one point. Why didn't Raditz do that? Does he really have to be that much of a loser and that much of a weakling compared to Nappa and Vegeta? Plot hole number four, actually. Plot hole number four. Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta. Why did they allow Raditz to invade Earth alone instead of invading Earth as a team? And it was Raditz invading Earth alone that enabled him. Raditz inadvertently kind of saved the day here. That inadvertently first off, when Raditz was defeated, that announced your rival. Then that resulted in Goku's death, which means Goku could go to Otherworld. Goku could go to Otherworld, train him to King Kai. Then when he was brought back to life, to life, that enabled him to surpass your comrade Nappa and even briefly surpass you, and that got the Earthlings prepared for you, and it was the combination of everyone who kind of helped repel your invasion, which I'm going to get to more of this later. But Raditz coming there inadvertently saved the day. And why did they invade as a team, especially if you're talking about Saiyan pride and Saiyan honor? This when we get to the next saga, the Namek Saga. Like I said, the Saiyan Saga on its own is good, But as a setup to the rest of the series, it's terrible. It's one of the worst ever, which I'm going to continue with. So that's Raditz invading Earth alone is plot hole number 4. Plot hole number 5 is when Raditz dies, Piccolo explains the concept of the Dragon Balls to him, and that message is overheard by Nappa and Vegeta. Nappa and Vegeta. Here's the problem I have here. Of course, in this saga, the Namek saga hasn't happened yet. So Ginyu Force, Frieza, Zarbon, and Dodoria and Kui, none of these characters are mentioned yet. So Vegeta wants a plan. Vegeta hatches a plan to go to Earth to wish for eternal life. Now, at the time, like I said, in the Saiyan saga is good because we don't know there's someone higher than Vegeta at this point. If you're watching the Saiyan saga for the first time, we don't know there's someone higher than Vegeta. But when we get into the Namek saga, we later learn the immortality wish is the challenge and overthrow Frieza. Here's the problem I have with that. Even Zarbon in the Japanese version in manga calls Vegeta out on this. How does immortality alone stop Frieza, especially Vegeta, who was a weak ass 18,000, later 24,000, and later 33,000? How does that stop? How does that stop Frieza? How? How does it stop Frieza? How does it stop Frieza? That gives you eternal life. That does not increase your power level. Then, in another plot hole, I was gonna save this for the Namek saga, the Frieza saga, but I'm gonna talk about it right here. Then I'll repeat it when I get to the Frieza saga rant. Somehow, Vegeta, all he did was fight Zarbon twice, then fight Raccoon and get his butt kicked, then eat a sensu bean, fought and killed Jace, and that somehow gave him a power level that was almost as high as Frieza's first form, which was 560,000. He was able to stop a punch from Frieza and hold him there and power up so rapidly that it caused Frieza's scouter to break. Another problem I mentioned I have with Dragon Ball, the Zenkai boost. Characters being weak in one arc, then the next arc showing up with brand new powers, strength, with little to no explanation on how that character achieved that power and strength. So yeah, that was plot hole number 5. Vegeta's immortality wish and his plan to somehow beat and overthrow Frieza with immortality. Yeah, he had the motivation, but his plan of going about these things was absolutely terrible. What else in Dragon Ball? What else in Dragon Ball Z? What else in Dragon Ball Z? So yeah, the Saiyan Saga. Then, oh yes, useless characters. Useless characters. If you're not Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and to a lesser extent Krillin, this saga was a waste of everyone's time, especially the characters who died, the other 3 who died. That is Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu. Tien and Yamcha and Chaozu, they were brought in to basically die. They all died in the most pathetic fashions ever. Ever. Let's start off with Yamcha. Yamcha, we all know he's the first to go, and everyone likes to mock his death the most, but believe it or not, his death is not the worst. But let's continue. Yamcha's the first to go. Yamcha, Yamcha, Yamcha's the first to go. He had the fight won, but he foolishly turns his back on the Cyberman. The Cyberman jumps on top of him, and he just dies. But like I said, that's not the most pathetic death. He's the first to go, but that's not the most pathetic death. The most pathetic deaths goes to Tien and Chaozu. Tien, after getting his arm smashed and getting two powerful hits from Nappa, after hitting his Chi-Ho blast, he immediately dies from exhaustion. You can also say blood loss, but he dies from exhaustion. And the epic scene where he charged Nappa one with one arm and fought Nappa with one arm, that's only in the anime. That's not in the manga. That's not in the manga. So it's even more pathetic in the what's the name? And all he managed to do was scratch Nappa's armor. Then Chaozu, before Tien dies, when Tien gets smashed, Chaozu jumps on top of Nappa and tries to sacrifice himself by blowing himself up and hoping to take Nappa with him. He fails, doesn't even leave that much of a scratch, which meant Chaozu sacrificed his life for pretty much nothing, only for Tien to die just moments after that. But at least with Yamcha and Tien, they were the first. This was the first time that either of those two fighters had left that plane. Chaozu had already died in a Piccolo Jr. saga and got his butt kicked off screen by General Tao in the Piccolo Jr. saga. Chaozu, this character just brought in to basically die and get his butt kicked. You could have at least, this would have been something new, at least have him survive the battle, have him participate in the second battle with Vegeta and go to Namek, and we later learn more about this character. But nope, we can't do that. So Toriyama easily killed these characters off in the worst way fashion and put them in heaven for a while, so he wouldn't have to deal with these characters for pretty much one entire season. One entire season. Waste of time, man. Waste of time. Waste of time. So yeah, these are the various reasons why the Saiyan Saga, and then Vegeta, Vegeta didn't accomplish anything here. This was the biggest colossal waste of time. Of course, the Dragon Balls. It was it's learned that once you use the Dragon Balls, they 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 turn to stone for a year. So Vegeta and Nappa, they took this year-long trip to Earth, and watch this. Bulma, Master Roshi, and Bulma and the gang used the Dragon Balls to wish back Goku. That means you can't do anything for a year. So even if Nappa and Vegeta would have won here, you can't do anything for a year. If they would have told you what the Dragon Balls were, you can't do anything for a year. But for some odd reason, it didn't occur to the Earthlings to tell them that. They probably thought it would not have mattered in the first place, but it didn't occur to the Earthlings to tell the Saiyans that, which made this entire trip a waste of everyone's time. Vegeta lost Nappa, Raditz, a thing of Cyberman, and nearly got his butt killed, nearly got his butt smashed by an obese man with a sword, Goku, a low-class Saiyan, his son, and Krillin. You were left at the mercy of Krillin, of all people. Like I said, a colossal waste of everyone's time. As a saga on its own is good. As a setup to the rest of the series, it's one of the worst sagas ever. It's almost as bad as Majin Buu. Only difference was this had a much better cast of characters than Majin Buu did. That's the only thing better about this saga right here. So yeah, and of course the Ocean Dub's voice acting and soundtrack was one of the many good things about this saga. Same goes with the Japanese version, but this saga right here was absolutely terrible. Whenever I watched this saga, pretty much Nappa, Nappa, Raditz, and Gohan are pretty much the MVPs. Of this saga. You saw how powerful Nappa was when he was taking on all these people. You put him over. Then when he calmed down in his fight against Goku, he was fine. He was doing it, but then Vegeta stopped him, and we know what happened after that. So yeah, that was my rant on the Saiyan Saga. The Namek Saga's coming next. If you don't want to hear the rest of the video, turn the if you don't hear the rest of the video, the rest of the music, turn the video off right now.